Hello everyone. Welcome back to the day 4 of the Gita Chp. Please put your mobiles on silent mode. Please stand there.
सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Yesterday we were looking into the topic of Yamimam Pushpitam Vacham Pravadantya Vipaschitah Vedavadarataः Partha Nanyadastiti Vadinah Kamatmanasvargaparaha Janma Karma Phalapradam Kriya Vishesha Bahulam Bhogaishwarya Gatin Prati Bhogaishwarya Prasaktanam Tayapahruta Chetasam व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि समाधौ न विधीयते। When we look at something without a comprehensive outlook, but take that which is conveniently suitable for us, and we use that convenience as the way of life, that aspect of convenience as way of life is being very harshly dealt with by Bhagavan Krishna. Yamimam Pushpitam Vacham. Those who talk of these lifestyle of conveniences, they are very sweet talkers. It appears very convincing. Though here they are talking about the people that are almost sold out for the understanding and practice of karma kanda. Those who are in the field of charvaka, they are no better. They are also sweet talkers. Charu Vak, not the Telugu Charu. Here Charu means that which is beautiful. Vak, speech. Very convincing speech. Convincing logic. Runam kritva ghritam pivet yavat jivet सुखम जीवित। भाई जिंदगी में क्या चाहिए? What do you require? Sukha. Now, in order to get to that sukha, the ways of world teaches us put lot of effort. And through the results of that effort, you will cherish some of the enjoyments, and in that you find some sukha, the normal way. Now, Charuvaka, they are completely of a different mindset. In order to reach to that sukha, you need lot of comforts. In comparison to what our ancestors had, what we have is a very, very, very comfortable lifestyle. When people who have a washing machine at home and they complain, oh, there is so much of laundry to take care of. क्या बात कर रहे हो? Why? All that you have to do is dry the clothes, fold the clothes. Maybe some essentials which have to be ironed as well. Otherwise, imagine in the olden days, soak it in the bucket, wash it, rinse it, and then again wash it in fresh water, again rinse it. 20 years before that or 30 years before that, you take the clothes to the nearest water source, a pond, a lake, a river, and there is a dhobi ghat, a dhobi section. There is a time where you take all these clothes, you have to walk all the way, wash the clothes, dry the clothes, collect the clothes, and walk back. In comparison to all of this, what we have today isn't it convenient? We all come from various distances. About 30, 40 years ago, if we had to travel this distance, then we would have thought several times. What is the method? What is the means? How to reach? How to get back? Even in the towns, I remember growing up, when we would go to the village, we used to have that tanga. In the Andhra side, it's got jatka. So the horse yoked cart. If you go to further villages, not towns, from one place to the other, there was only one means. No, sorry, there were two means. One is the sweet, good old, our own trustworthy 2 feet. Walk. Otherwise, bullock cart. There were no roads. पगडंडियां होती थी. Beaten paths where people have walked several times, so there is a seeming sense of road. There will be ups and downs, there will be boulders, there will be rocks, and it is not a very comfortable bullock cart ride. Everything that which is there, that the wheel goes up and down, it is translated straight into your spine. Today, anywhere between 10 to 15 kilometers, शाम को एक बार सत्संग हुआ आते हैं. Why? We have metro, we have bus, we have cars, we have vehicles, convenience. For having such convenient comforts, there has to be some kind of effort that has to put. And the Charuvaka will say, "Hey Baba, I don't have that kind of patience." So they found a very beautiful method. And what is that method? Ranam Kritva. Translated into Telugu, Appu Chesi, Pappu Kudu. That too, dipped in ghee, because that is supposed to be the higher standard. मामूली लड्डू नहीं चलेगा, देसी घी के मोती चूर के लड्डू. You have to do it in finesse. And in order to do in finesse, take loans. Now that loan can be taken for only a certain period of time. What is there? This side of the city, you have taken one loan, go to the other side, take another loan. You don't have to pay that fellow everything. You just keep paying the interest. He is also interested only in the interest. Once that comes to the standstill, take a third loan, take a fourth loan. Rinam kritva, ghritam pibet. Yavat jivet, as long as you live comfortably. Most of the society today has become like that only, isn't it? What does credit card do? You just go by. You don't have to pay the entire amount which you owe to the credit card. All that you have to do is pay a certain minimal amount. I know of people who have 7, 8 cards, each one running to its maximum limit. Are there not people like that? They have to show that they have the comfort, they have all the sukha. When these people come to US on H1B and other visas, work visas, there are these huge stores. When I say huge, it is literally huge. Just to walk around, it will take about 40 minutes in the store. And for the parking lot for that store is like 3 football fields put together. There, these people who go, they are going there for about 3 to 6 months. There are places like Costco, Sam's and others where you can buy big things. Big screen TV, Dolby stereo, home theater systems, high-end cars. All that through Costco, and they have a scheme. If you don't like it or if it doesn't work, you can return it in 6 months. What do? Just before they are about to leave, that which they have taken from that store, they return it, full payment back. Earlier it was any time. The warranty given is any time. Now because they see the desi and our mindset, they have reduced it to 2.5 months or 2 months. Ranam kritva ghritam pibet. Yavat jivet, khao piyo, ash karo. But you don't you incur sin? Who has seen afterlife? All that matters is here and now. Enjoy here. Doesn't it look convincing? Better than them are those that say Vedavadarata. Those who are saying that these are the injunctions given by the Shastra. Completely stuck in Karma Kanda. The same parlance that which we can take to today's lifestyle, wherein we are sold, and we sell that also in such beautiful words. Those who are completely addicted to their job, they would spend all their time in their offices, and their household praises them. Swamiji, हमारे घर वाले ना कर्मयोगी है, कर्मयोगी. This is not called karma yoga. Addiction to work is not called karma yoga. देखो कर्मठ कहते हैं. And you ask those who are karmat, they say, it is better to be here, there is more peace for them as well as for us. I know of parents that I spoke to when the school opened. And the parents were like, Ammaya. Why? Schools have started. And I can imagine. Because these kids growing up at a really fast pace, anything that you give them to feed, in few hours they come back. After sumptuous meal, अम्मा कुछ खाने को है? Probably I'm talking one generation ago. Nowadays they don't even probably ask. What do? Blinkit? No. Swiggy? Tomato? No. Zomato? Order it. And the whole house is like a mini tornado. Everything that it should not be where it should not be, it is there. And poor mother has been running around pillar to post trying to correct everything, put everything in place. The mother says, thank goodness, school shuru ho gaya. So that we don't have to. The field of this convenient lifestyle wherein I justify my conveniences because it is easily gratifying. Now, for such people who are constantly looking for easy gratification, they do not have the mental tenacity, the stamina to go through life. Everything has to be easy. If it is not easy, we are not interested. And every generation has a complaint about the next generation. When we were growing up, we were not like this. Isn't it? Every generation has a complaint about the next generation. We would at least not talk back to our parents. This generation, Toba, Toba. What all things they talk. And my logic is, how far will the apple fall from the tree? No, Swamiji, you are not this bad. Underline this. Meaning, bad to the. The next generation is amplified 10 to 20% worse than what we were. But it is the same genetic streak that is continuing. These lifestyles of conviction wherein we do not have any more stamina to face that which is supposed to be our own life. We want shortcuts. तो हिंदी में क्या बोलते हैं? जुगाड़ू लाइफस्टाइल. Everything has to be a quick fix. Who has patience for the coffee to drip and then you have your filter and then you have your coffee and then the 9 miles of the pour and then drink? Hot water, just stir it up and drink. Everything patapat. There are many mothers sitting here. What is the easiest thing to cook? Don't tell me Maggie. Traditionally, what is the easiest thing to cook? Haji? Upma or khichdi, right? Now you go to the grocery stores, they sell ready-made upma. I am like, Adapavi. That is the easiest one. Before the 2-minute Maggie came into picture, it was the Maggie. It can be done under 2 minutes. For that, you need now a ready-made package. Whenever I meet with the youth, I ask them, do you know how to cook? Because you have to be independent. Say, yes, Swamiji, I know how to make dosas. I said, where do you get the batter from? Blinkit. Everything has to be instantaneous. What happens with that kind of a lifestyle? The mind doesn't have the stamina to go through. The intellect doesn't have the conviction. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekeha kuru nandana. And he says in these 44th shloka, Samadhau na vidhiyate. They don't have stability. They don't have balance. Small things of life goes here and there. Their entire life topples. While I am discussing the topic of parenting with the parents, I tell them we usher them with such everything affordable, comfortable, that we have not prepared them for life. We have prepared them only to memorize and regurgitate. That they have scored really good in their competitive exams. But having gone into these esteemed universities, the first year, the number of people that want to run away from there or commit suicides or such imbalances. Why? Up until then, they have never ever had the opportunity to live independently on their own feet. Everything was fed, spoon-fed. See, when I used to do this YEP courses, one of the basic tests, I would buy carts of apples, give them a peeler each. I said, the quickest one that can peel everything with the least amount of fruit lost. Of the 35 kids that would be there, about 32 of them would say, the peeler doesn't work. क्योंकि जिंदगी में कभी पीलर यूज किया ही नहीं है. Can you imagine the pathetic condition? They've never done their laundry. They've never done their basic chores. Up until then, the father, mother, beta, tum pad lo. All that we want is you study. We want you not to be distracted by anything else. And then when he has to go live by himself in these hostels and universities, everything has to be done by them and nothing is known. And the fast pace of that university, which was not there earlier, catches them by shock. And everything at home and everything at the room piles up. You're not mentally prepared to face that simple thing of fending for yourself. There is no balance. Little things go off and straight, I am depressed. Little things. I'm not talking of heavy things. Little things that happen, is that I'm depressed. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi samadhau na vidhiyate. They are not prepared to face life for such conveniences. So Bhagavan says in the 45th shloka, Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvasthaha Niryogakshema Atmavan. Before I get into the shloka, let me highlight one beautiful part. All the concepts of Vedanta that has to be introduced to a seeker has been introduced very efficiently in the second chapter itself. Once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked, everybody who has established a tradition, a sampradaya, in order to sustain their tradition, they write Prasthanatrayi Bhashya. So why don't you attempt writing Bhashya on the Bhagavad Gita? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very laughingly said, it seems, why do I need to? All that which he has introduced as concepts in the second chapter, he painstakingly takes each one of those concepts, delves deeper in the subsequent chapters, and in the 18th chapter, he consolidates the entire thought, that which he has presented through and through between the second and 18th chapter. When Bhagavan himself has taken such meticulous detail to explain, what is there more to explain? Meaning it is self-explanatory. That all these concepts have been introduced in the very second chapter itself. Now in the very beginning, when I was talking about our labyrinth of scriptures, if you remember, I had mentioned that we have 4 different streams of it. The origin of every scripture goes back to the Vedic literature. In the Veda, which has 4 different books, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda and Atharva Veda or Atharvana Veda. This volume is called Shruti because it was heard, understood, assimilated, practiced and then given to the next generation. Guru Sishya Parampara. An unbroken tradition of at least a minimum of 16 to 20,000 years is the tradition. Unbroken. What a tradition that it is being kept alive, practically used for the last 16,000 years plus, unbroken. Now this is called Shruti. The second is called Smriti. Smriti means that which tells clearly as to how each human being in different interactions or intersections of life, what should be their responsibilities, how they should understand their responsibilities, and how they should cater to their responsibilities. A mere guidance given, not injunctions, not commandments, guidance given. This is called Smriti Grantha. Of the various Smritis that are there available, what is that one that which most of us know? Either it is famous or it is infamous, depending on whose commentary or approach that you look at. Which one is that? Manusmriti. Some have utter sheer reverence to it. Some say, burn this book. From this end to that end, you have different reactions to that book. At least for those of us who are Astika, who believe in these traditions. Who is that Manu? He is the one that is the originator of Raghu Vamsha. Bhagavan Ramaji's lineage, he is the first one. Vivaswan manave praha manurikshvakave bravit. Vivaswan, that son, gave this to Manu. Manu gave it to Ikshvaku. And the Raghu Vamsha is also known as Ikshvaku Kula. Ikshvaku's father. In Bhagavatam, if you follow, Manu is considered as an avatar of Narayana himself. So that book which is given as a guiding factor for the human at different intersections of life. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. At which phase, what are your responsibilities? How should you cater to it? If you are in this particular ashrama, in this particular vyavastha, these are the things that you should be able to do. That yaga which was done by Dasharatha to have the blessings of 4 children born. What was that yaga called? Kameshti yaga, Putra Kameshti yaga. I cannot say that as a sannyasi, I am taking the sankalpa of Putra Kameshti yaga. Danda leke bhagayenge. Why? It is meant for those who are in the Grihastha ashrama, not is in the sannyas ashrama. Those who are in the Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa, they are not qualified for it. So who at what stage of life, what should be done? A clear understanding that is given. Smriti Grantha. Then comes Shruti, Smriti. Then comes the Purana. Yesterday I was talking. How many gods are there? There are millions and millions of gods in Hinduism. Boy, wake up. No, Swamiji, they say there are that many crores. How many crores? 31 crores. Koti, that word means different classification. There are 31 classifications. There is not billions and millions and millions of gods. Am I getting across? Now, each one of these different gods and goddesses, their stories and their interaction with different devotees in different kala, chronologically organized. The stories of Ganesha is called Ganesha Purana. Stories of Shiva, Shiva Purana. Stories of all the Devis is called Devi Bhagavata. Stories of Krishna is called Bhagavata. Stories of Vishnu, Vishnu Purana. Very beautifully organized. 18 main Puranas and 18 Upa Puranas. And the last one is the Itihasa, history. There are 2 histories. One is called Ramayana, which has 24,000 shlokas. The second is called Mahabharata, which has about 1,100,000 shlokas. 1 lakh or 100,000 shlokas. It's the largest written volume. Yeah, it should get into Guinness Book. A written format, the largest poetry. And it covers about 7 or 8 generations. What an amazing episode. Now, within the Shruti, there are 4 parts to the Shruti. Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka, and the last one being Upanishad. It is also classified. There are different standpoints of classification. The first one was Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka, and Upanishad. Mantra, the formula. Brahmana, the expertise of application of that formula. Aranyaka, further research and study on that mantra and that Brahmana. Upanishad, final culmination of crystallization of one's own experience into wisdom. Upanishad. Another classification of it is called the Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, and the last one being Jnana Kanda. Upanishad comes under Jnana Kanda. Aranyaka comes under the Upasana Kanda. The mantra and Brahmana come under Karma Kanda. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Though the Vedic literature gives us clearly injunctions as to what kind of Karma Kanda should be performed at what different stages of life. But whatever are the injunctions that are given, it is still functioning in the realm of three gunas, Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. The purpose of the Vedic literature is not to be stuck only in that Karma Kanda. Through Karma Kanda, reach to a realm of purification within, then a focal point ascertained through Upasana. And because of this self-purification, the individual is qualified now to understand the Upanishadic wisdom and realize one's own true nature. But most of us get stuck in the Karma Kanda. Never transcend beyond karma. More so now, wherein our very family structure, ashrama structure has completely been morphed. I wouldn't say completely destroyed, at least morphed. Brahmacharya ashrama. Not many people follow it these days. One ashrama that everybody seems to be eager to follow is Grihastha ashrama. Vanaprastha. We don't see it. Sannyasa, a very strange, meager percentage. Everybody, if their Purna Ayush, full life, is say about 100 years. If the life expectancy is about 100 years, first 25 years is Brahmacharya ashrama. And that Brahmacharya ashrama is for learning skills, learning your potential, learning and enhancing your talent, vidyartham, for the sake of vidya. Sukharthinaha vidyam tyajet, vidyarthinaha sukham tyajet. Those 25 years are not for enjoyment. It is for acquiring knowledge and translating that knowledge into wisdom. Then you get back into the life, start earning. Then, see, there is one step in Vivaha, two steps, which we do very hurriedly. One is called Yajnopavita Samskara. Yajnopavita Samskara has to be done when the child is 4 to 5 years old. Just before getting into the Gurukula. Nowadays, what do we do? When do we do it? 2-3 hours before Vivaha. So how long that fellow has been a brahmachari? 2 hours. That which is supposed to be spent for a solid 1/4 of life. That rigor is not there. The second is snataka. In Vivaha, just before Vivaha, there is a step called Snataka Mahotsava. What does Snataka mean? That those who are getting into the field of Grihastha they should have enhanced their talents, enhanced their skill sets, potential, and educated to turn the knowledge into wisdom. Such ones who have graduated from the Brahmacharya Ashrama, from the Gurukula, they are called Snataka, graduates. If you are not a graduate, you are not qualified for Grihastha. वो पंडित जी कराते हैं, हम लोग भी करवा लेते हैं, ना उनको पता है ना हमको पता है. Why Snataka? What does the significance of Snataka? How many of us are into Vanaprastha? Vanaprastha, where the individuals are now the Grihastha, the couple, are now independent, not taking support of each other, independent, so that they are now preparing themselves to walk into sannyasa. Up until 25 is Brahmacharya, 25 to 50 is Grihastha Ashrama, 50 to 75 is Vanaprastha, 75 to 100 sannyasa. In this very lifetime, attain to that moksha. That is the purpose. System is completely morphed. All that which we practice changed. So Bhagavan is saying here, Traigunya Vishayaha Vedaha. Life is not meant just for fulfilling the different desires in the field of karma and feel satiated. There is much more added to life. Be intensely active while you are in that field of Grihastha Ashrama. Give your 100% so that the existing set of vasanas are expelled. No new vasanas are created. You are now cleansing through that field of karma your antakarana. Traigunya Vishayaha Vedaha Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. The aim is to gradually grow from tamasic to rajasic, rajasic to sattvic. And the one who has now come to the level of being in sattvic, gunatito bhava, get beyond the 3 levels, that should be the aim. Nistraigunyo bhava Arjuna. How do I reach there? Nirdvandvo nitya sattvastaha niryoga kshema atmavan. And we say, Hinduism is very confusing. Our scriptures are very confusing. How much more clear and simplified should the message be given? The second line clearly maps out the entire structure of growth. What is the first one given? Nirdvandvo bhava. First set of sadhana to be done. Get beyond the layers of duality. There is always a polarity. And what is the polarity? Polarities are born from my raga dvesha. The field of responsibilities is not to be seen through the lenses of likes and dislikes. Whatever is my responsibility in that particular intersection of life, I have to gear up to fulfill that responsibility Not because I like it, not because I dislike it. It is something that is sacred, that has to be fulfilled, therefore it has to be fulfilled. This attitude helps us grow out of our likes and dislikes. Nirdvandvaha, getting beyond raga, dvesha. That itself is such a mental capacity that which we can really feel ourselves experience unburdening. Otherwise, we create unnecessary layers and then feel trapped in our own layered existence purely because of my likes and dislikes. Nirdvandvo bhava. And the second one is nitya sattvastho bhava. Constantly put the effort to raise the intellect, to transcend tamasic, transcend rajasic, and consciously be in sattvic attitude. And a very brief way to understand these three layers of guna: tamasic, selfish, self-centered, lethargic, egotistical existence. Selfish, self-centered, self-serving, lethargic. This is the pattern of tamasic. Rajasic, still selfish, self-centered, will help only if there is something in return that I can bank on at a later time. They scratch a lot. What do I mean? I scratch your back now so that when in need, you can scratch my back. Friend in need is friend indeed. Somebody recently said, the friend who has named in their deed the will deed is truly a friend indeed. Always calculative. What is it that I can get in every situation? Their balance sheet is ROI, return on my investment. Sattvic, those who are selfless, those who are pure-minded, those who are aligned to dharmic way of existence. Swamiji, whenever we work in the field, don't we have to be rajasic? Yes. In the field of karma, you have to be rajasic. But guided by what kind of intelligence from within? That kind of intelligence, that which is established in sattvic attitude. Therefore, the advice given, nitya sattvastho bhava. Carry your intellect always in that sattvic approach. With that guidance from the sattvic approach, when you are functioning, you are always, though in a rajasic attitude, that rajas is being guided by the sattva. Nitya sattvasto bhava. Niryoga kshema atmavan. In life, we are constantly pursuing. And what is our mode of pursuit? So we can divide the entire world into two parts. That which is mine, and the rest of it, that which is not yet mine. Not just not mine, not yet mine. Therefore, what is the effort? That which is mine has to be secured. That which is not yet mine has to be procured. The whole lifestyle is securing, procuring. Procured, therefore secured. And all our way of looking at our lives and our next generation is to give just this security. The quality of life is not tested. All that which is शादी करनी है. What is the first question? लड़का कितना कमाता है? First question. Secure, therefore first procure. The whole lifestyle is geared towards procuring, securing, procuring, securing. So here Bhagavan says, that which is supposed to be yours according to your prarabdha phala will come to you anyways. And that which is to come to you, because it is your prarabdha, will stay secured as yours. But then, inside that insecurity is so strong. What if का कीड़ा जो है ना, it is so strong that I have to have a backup to a backup to a backup. Just a simple example with the raise of your hands. Do you all have a cell phone? Thank you for participating. Do you have a portable bank, the battery bank? How many of you have it? Several hands are raised. Why? Okay. If you don't have a battery bank, how many of you carry your charger? Almost everyone. This is there, but there is, if in case, a backup. A simple slice of our life. There has to be procured, secured, and without that, there is instability inside. Now, cell phone and battery backup is just a mere simple example. What all things, what all environments that which we have secured. Those that which we have secured, we have not even cherished it as ours, but just the feel good factor that apna hai. Should I give an example? Does everybody have gold ornaments? स्वामी जी, भारतीय है हम लोग. More than what the government has in its stock, we collectively have 8 folds in our houses. No, not in your houses. Where do you have it? In the locker. It is a good sense of security. How often do you go to visit your locker? हर महीने, एकादशी, चतुर्दशी, शुद्ध एकादशी, Not the Krishna Ekadashi, Shuddha Ekadashi. Go to the bank, pull it out. It is just a sense of security. I have procured it, it is secure. Whether I use it or not, whether it is useful or not, whether it is, nothing matters. है खुश हूं मैं. That is why there is that beautiful statement. There is enough for everyone's need, not enough for one man's greed. And the beauty is, all of these statements are memorized. I am reminded of that shloka, Tatakim, Tatakim, Tatakim. Though it is memorized, is it applied? The rest of the Bhagavad Gita, we see these pointers repeated again and again and again. Nirdvandvaha, Nitya Sattvastaha, Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. And what does Bhagavan say? Yoga Kshemam Vahami Aham. Your Yoga Kshema, I will take care. I am already taking care. And we have conveniently cut that little portion. Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham, and put it under the hand. Do you know what I'm talking about? LIC इंश्योरेंस. वो कह क्या रहा है भगवान वहां पे कि भैया तुम्हारा योग और क्षेम मेरे जिम्मे. आई विल टेक केयर ऑफ योर योग क्षेम. Playing on that insecurity, LIC says, I will take care of your yoga kshema. When? After you die. Yeah. Aren't they the biggest stock right now? LIC. We invest in it. Sense of security. Yoga, Kshema. And Bhagavan is saying very clearly, your Yoga Kshema is my responsibility. I am already taking care of you. Now, in order to bring this change, it is not going to happen overnight. What should we do? First, let's come to the field of responsibilities. Understand that field of karma. How one should realign themselves so that that field of karma, which is inevitable, unavoidable, we can get the best out of it while going through it. So therefore, Bhagavan says in the 46th, Yavanartha udapane sarvatas samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanatah. Bhagavan has a very good technique of first showing the carrot, saying this is the result of understanding karma and applying karma yoga. What will you get out of it? He says, when Brahmana here means not the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Brahmana here means the one who has expertise in understanding what was stated in the last shloka, specifically the second line. Nirdvandvaha, Nityasatvastaha, Niryogaha, Kshema, Atmavan, the one who is centered within. Such Brahman, such an expert. What good is the entire Karma Kanda portion of the results that it can bring when they have exceedingly unending amount of ananda because of practicing the second line and experiencing that ananda within. How is that situation? He says, if there is a well, especially in this summer, when there is a well, in our ancient times, within the city, understanding the topography of the city, they would build several step wells, wherein the excess rainwater can get accumulated. And that excess rainwater which is accumulated removes the possibility of floods in the low-lying areas. First benefit. Second benefit, because that water, now we talk about big terms, rainwater harvest. What have we done to the step wells which was meant for that very purpose? We have occupied it. हड़प लिया हमने. Now when that rainwater harvest system step wells are in place, the groundwater level is high. So your local wells will always have water even when there is drought. That is the purpose of a well in the local community. Every local community used to have one well. The water from the well is important, but when the entire area is flooded with pure water, do you need to search for a well? It is no use for that person because water is plenty abundantly available. Similarly, for the one who has done Nirdvandvaha, Nityasatvastaha, Niryoga, Kshema, Atmavan, for them that very Ananda is abundantly available without a cause. To them, the field of Karma Kanda, which can give little small joys, is meaningless. Now, interestingly, immediately our question is, how do I reach there directly? You cannot directly reach there. When you open your maps on your phone, earlier there used to be specific GPS gadgets. Has anybody used it? I'm not talking about the maps on your cell phones right now. There used to be a separate gadget. Tom, Garmin, right? So they used to release those depending on that area, that maps on that preloaded. So you had to do two things there. One, where are you? Second, where do you want to get to? Destination. You need to write both. Nowadays, it is your GPS is so prompt, so precise, that where you are is already loaded. All that you have to do is load where do you want to get to. Now our confusion is, We are all very clear where do we want to get to. Ananda, fatafat, fast se fast. But we are not very clear, where am I? Our GPS is, sometimes your cell phone says, GPS signal lost. And if you don't know the local roads and your GPS says that it cannot connect, it is lost, what will happen? Ayyo. Isn't it? That is how each individual is. We know where we want to get to, but our coordinates of where exactly I am, our GPS signal is lost. So how do we get that GPS signal back? I say the GPS system is called Guru Parampara system or Guru Parampara Sampradaya. The Guru downloads that for your offline use, so that I know where exactly I am, so that I can understand how to get to where I have to be. All of us know Ananda is the state I want to get to. But not knowing how to reach there, we come to adjust with any little sukha and say, at least this much is okay. Man lives on hope, hopelessly, expecting to survive on this little sukha. That Ananda is never gained. So in order to reach there, first we have to understand where to get from. Therefore, Bhagavan says, each one of us at different stages of life have to perform our field of karma. Cannot be avoided. Therefore, let us start understanding from that first step. Therefore, he introduces one of the most beautiful compiled treaties ever written. So, in the next shloka, second chapter, 47th shloka, thanks to the Mahabharata series, that there are couple of shlokas we have memorized. One such is this shloka. कौन था director? B.R. Chopra. Thanks to him, we have memorized this shloka. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा फलेषु कदाचन. फलेषु नहीं है, फलेषु. मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्म फल हेतुर्भूः मा ते संगोस्त्व कर्मणि. कर्मणि एव अधिकारः ते. The field of karma is your adhikara. Now, this field of karma is unavoidable. Those who are born up until the last moment, until they kick their bucket, the field of karma cannot be avoided. What is our right? Karma is the right, our adhikara. Can you avoid that field of karma? Because many of us are eagerly waiting for that moment of our life wherein all my responsibilities are done, then I have a bucket list of when all my responsibilities are done. The first time as a young adult I heard Gurudev, this was the shloka that he was going through. And he said, is there anybody in the crowd? AV college. It's packed. And as a novice coming to his lecture, looking at him deliver to those tens and thousands of people sitting there, just looking at that environment, I said, this is a miracle. Indians coming to a spiritual lecture on time, first miracle. Second miracle, Indians sitting in that large numbers and pin drop silence. Second miracle. Without being prompted, people were ardently taking notes. Homework karo, class work karo, koi nahi karta. And here voluntarily people are coming and writing down notes. I said, this must be a Mahatma. If he can pull these many thousands of people on time with pinned off silence to listen, there is some Mahatma. So in his lecture, he says, he paused and he looked at everybody and said, how many of you think, who are here, think that in their life they have completed all their responsibilities? Please raise their hands. And from this end of the crowd to that end of the crowd, he slowly scanned front to back, side to side. A solid 10-second pause. He is scanning everyone. And then, in his unique way of laughter, he starts shaking his shoulders as he laughs, giggles to himself. He says, thank goodness nobody raised your hands. Otherwise, we would have been forced to attend your funeral right after this lecture. He was not ready to stop the lecture. Right after the lecture, we would have been forced to attend your funeral. Meaning, up until that last moment, the field of karma is unavoidable. Why do we all love our childhood memories? Having grown up too fast, too soon, that is when we come to realize how beautiful were those days wherein we were not expected of fulfilling any responsibility. There was nothing binding us. The moment you become an adult, you start waiting for when will these responsibilities finish so that I can enjoy life. If there is anybody sitting here with that kind of an expectation or a hope, let me burst your bubble right here, right now. That moment is when you bid farewell to this world. Not until then. Karmani eva adhikaraha te. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Karma phala, you don't have a right. One has to understand this statement in different layers of understanding. Very profound shloka. for each one of our karma to yield the result, it may be the same kind of playing grounds. For example, when I sow in the same land, I till the land, I nicely irrigate it and sow paddy. In how many days does the paddy give a crop? Approximately about 90 days. Meaning 3 months. It will give a crop. A banana plant, each stump yields once a year. That too, if there is the right amount of pollination that happens. A coconut tree, not the hybrid variety, the original, what is it? Natu variety. It takes about 5 to 6 years to yield a good crop. One is getting the results in 3 months. One is getting it in 6 years. And the other is getting in 1 year. Does the farmland do injustice to different grades of grains, different kinds of crops? No. Each one playing in the same field has the results in different time frames according to its maturity. Right? We jump to conclusions with our comparisons. The same field the other fellow is working, I am also working, he is getting the results, I am not getting the results. Then, yena kena prakarena. Whatever means that can be possible, I need to get the same result. Okay, this is self-built pressure. Then there is the environment-built pressure, peer-built pressure, parental pressure. Now, if you go to a coconut plant and show that coconut plant, the paddy plant, and say, "Bada hua to kya hua?" You have become tall. What use is this? Look at the paddy. It has already given me the result in 3 months. कुछ तो शर्म कर. The older sibling compared to the younger sibling. The children compared to the cousins. The children compared to the neighbors. तेरे क्लास में ना वो देख. Environmental pressure, parental pressure, and my own pressure because of my own comparison. Each one has their own rhythm of maturing and yielding the result. It cannot be comparable and say that the results have to be streamlined. नहीं होगा. महाफलेषु कदाचन. Is the first layer understood? Second, let me take this environment as the example. Each one of us, born in different years, in different places, gone through different kinds of experiences, have come together in this environment to have this experience as a result, this dialogue as a result. It could not have happened few years before or few years later. This had to be the right time for this environment wherein these many people with that background of various experience, birth and growth had to come to accumulate here to have this experience shared. So for my efforts, the results to be yielded, that right environment has to be created by that Ishvara so that I get the exact result corresponding to my effort and the intention behind the effort. Cannot be assured, cannot be stopped. It has to wait for that particular moment. Is the second layer understood? For that result to yield, there has to be the proper environment to be created. Every result that has to come, it will come through this very nature. And that which is being given unto us, is there not a saying that don't shoot the messenger? Why? In the earlier days, if there is a quickness of message to be delivered, it would always be through a telegram, not the app, which has been banned right now. I'm talking about the telegraphic Morse code through which the message is sent. It was synonymous that if somebody got a telegram message, किसी का तो नंबर लग गया है, किसी का तो पत्ता कट गया है. If the postman were to not deliver the letter but say, I have a telegram, suddenly there is like a sinking feeling. However bad be the news, because the news has been delivered which is bad, can you beat him up? How dare you bring a bad news? So the general saying is, don't shoot the messenger. I am just the messenger. Right? For every act of ours, the yielding result has to be delivered by this very nature. That individual, that environment where it is appropriate for that result to unfold, to become my experience, that individual has to come give. All of this has to be, this matrix has to be thought through, processed and delivered. Who do we call Ishvara? Karma phala data is that Ishvara. He decides when is the right time for accessing that result. Third standpoint understood. Now let's come to the highest standpoint. Through every single karma, what is the result that you and me are anticipating? Whatever be the karma, what is the result that you and I are anticipating? Isn't it Ananda? I have to study. After study, I have to get a job. After job, I have to get salary. With that salary, get all the things that can yield comfort. Now, once that comfort is ascertained, then in that comfortable environment, I am anticipating some sukha. Whoever is doing whatever kind of karma, our anticipation is, we are aiming for that Ananda. Is there anybody who is not aiming for Ananda? Let me say the corollary. Then the main sutra becomes clear. Is there anybody that is consciously working towards being miserable? For the last 30 plus years, I have been teaching I have never come across somebody that comes and says, Swamiji, pray for me. I am putting this gigantic effort to be miserable. Kabhi kiya hai? Inadvertently we gain dukkha, that is a different game. Do you ever intend to have dukkha? Don't give me the example of Kunti Devi. Kunti Devi, when she was asked for a boon from Bhagavan Krishna, she says, Bhagavan, whenever in life I have had dukkha, I have had the sacred, beautiful opportunity that you have been a part of my life at that very moment. Therefore, if dukkha can bring you to me, may you be blessing me with dukkha always. That was her standpoint. She was not anticipating and prepping herself for dukkha. She was not a, what do you call those who inflict pain on themselves? Masochist. Masochist, right? She was not a masochist. She was not anticipating dukkha. Her standpoint was, if it can bring you into my life and dukkha is the reason, may I have dukkha only. Have we ever planned to be miserable? My take on it is, unplanned, we are already there. Do we need to plan to be miserable? Every karma that is done is in anticipation of that ananda alone. Now pay attention. The most important statement. Ma phaleshu kadachana. That phala of ananda which we are anticipating through karma, that karma is incapacitated to deliver that ananda. Karma cannot yield ananda. What a bold statement to make. Karma, it is like the railway track. Both tracks are parallel. Thank goodness they don't merge. If they merge, what happens? Ramnan. The patri of karma, the patri of ananda, they don't merge. Karma cannot ever give ananda. It is not the nature of karma to give ananda. Karma can never ever yield ananda. The same dialogue I was saying in the morning. ये मुश्किल ही नहीं नामुमकिन है. It is not just difficult, it is impossible that karma can yield ananda. Why? Anything that which the karma yields has a yielding time. Anything that which is born, jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha, that which has been yielded will have an end. If with all this effort I get that kind of sukha which is temporary, I am already having it. So I am not in anticipation of that kind of sukha which I am already getting it, which is temporary in nature. What is the kind of ananda that you and I are looking for? That which has the nature of permanency. That karma cannot yield. Ma phaleshu kadachana. How emphatically he is saying, kadachana. Ho hi nahi sakta. By mistake sometimes. Not possible. Am I getting across? It is such a disappointment for many when we hear this first time. Seriously? Karma cannot yield ananda? My whole life I have been only waiting for that. If the karma cannot yield that ananda, ma karma phala hetur bhuhu, performing of the action, the responsibility, the result of which we are anticipating should not be the motivating force for performing that karma. How wrongly we are applying ourselves in the field of karma. What is it that dangles in front of us whenever we talk about karma? Isn't that what we have been promised right from childhood? Education complete कर ले, 10th class pass, सुखो सुख. 10th class pass, you get into intermediate. That entrance exam you pass, get into college, sukho sukha. The foolish kid also thinks, all these 12 years I have been carrying a donkey weight to my classrooms. The bags are heavy. Those who go to college, we see, go with single book. Must be really sukha. Then you understand. Finish this college, sukha sukha. As soon as that is done, everybody starts asking, did you have internship? Did you have campus selection? Did you get a job? Once you get a job, zindagi bhar sukha hi sukha. And once you get that job, then the parents, what is the next target? शादी कर ले, सुख ही सुख. Once that shadi is done, immediately everybody, any news for us? खुशखबरी कब है? When are you giving us the good news? Good news मतलब चिंकू टिंकू पिंकू मिंकू बाल विहार सेशन. And as though that which our parents have done to us, हमें भी बदला लेना. Next generation, get them on the same track. Nobody has ever paused to question, where is this track yielding? Can it yield that? If it is not sukha, then what is the purpose of karma? So far I have been told that there is some resultant thing, and that is supposed to be tying to my ananda, tying to my sukha, tying to my contentment. Therefore I am slogging like a dog. And if you say that sukha is not the result of this karma, I am disappointed. Then what do I have purpose for to do any karma at all? That we will see tomorrow. A good cliffhanger to stop at. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. We have announcements.